What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Pod Scum. I'm your host, Reckless Rexx Ruger. That, if you couldn't tell by the gangly chompers, is, of course, my backup, my sidekick, the Freddie Mercury puppet. This, of course, is Pod Scum, where the cool kids could chop it up. To chop it up. That's the edibles talking, folks. And our guest is here, so we're getting right down to it and chopping it up ASAP, which I always love, man. On time, punctual, ready to rock it. Let's fucking go. Excited. And this is an old friend of the show. I'm glad to have him back. It's a better world with this guy in it, man. If I got him in here, and I do not. Well, while I wait for him to come in, I will, of course, remind you that it's your boy, Reckless Rexx Ruger, a.k.a. Diamond David Jr. There he is. What's up, man?
What's going on, brother?
My man, what's up? Hey, I'm glad to have you back in here, man. It's been a while since we talked last, man.
Been a minute.
Yeah, so what do you got going on, man? First of all, man, I want to know, man, when you make a horror movie and you're going to make it like, where do you come up with Hell Nurse? Because I'm a nurse, oddly enough. That's my day job. So I'm wondering why you specifically chose a nurse for that movie.
Well, you know what? Everything I did with Hell Nurse, man, was more about kind of like homage to all the different kind of movies I've always liked. So
yeah,
the reason I chose a nurse is really about Halloween Part 2. You know how it took place in the hospital?
Yeah.
So I saw that when I was a kid, and
yeah, me too.
You know, hospitals, I've never been able to shake that feeling in a hospital. You know?
I will go on record as saying me and my son, who I did my boxing podcast with, are both fans of the sequel, man. I got Michael right up behind me right here, stalking the hospital hallway, man. It is easily probably... I mean, it's easy to go with the 78 original as the classic, man, the real OG, but I like Halloween 2, the original, the 1981 Halloween 2.
Yeah, man. I mean, they're both fantastic, you know. And I like some of the newer ones. I liked the one with Michael Anthony Hall. Is that his name?
Oh, the last one there where they actually finally killed him.
Yeah. Well, maybe not so much that one, but the one before it.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't like the one where he was in the sewer and, getting punked out by some kid.
Yeah, I don't like that.
You know, I can't deal with that one. But the one with the kid from the Breakfast Club.
Yes, yeah. And you know what, man? I didn't really need a lot of backstory, man. When they started diving in the original canon, into 5 and 6, in the curse and everything, I liked it back when I just thought he was just a fucked up kid and there's no reason why the fuck he's doing this shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's, but that's the thing, man. And a lot of people complain about sequels and remakes and stuff, and it's like, well, it's either that or nothing, So I'm cool with it. You don't have to watch them, that, and that's how I was the same way. When Halloween 3 came out, I was one of the people that was just like, well, what is this, And I don't like it. I still don't like it. But 4 was cool and whatever, but yeah, that's where I come up with. I didn't really think of it. It's just that, when I was coming up with Hell Nurse, what I was really trying to do was just kind of recreate the vibe of movies that I saw when I was real little that just scared the living shit out of me. But it's a bit of a flawed concept because people nowadays, with the internet stuff, we're seeing people get run over by trains and all kinds of crazy shit that when I was younger, you didn't see that kind of shit anywhere, So people are a little more desensitized. But I did accomplish what I was trying to do. But that's what it was, man. I was thinking of, Phantasm and Halloween 2 and all those movies. That's where I came up with the hospital thing. And then
where do you stand where do you stand on new horror, man? Like, a big deal has been made, and I haven't caught any of the flicks yet. I'll be fully honest, man. My son didn't like the first one, but I think he just saw a sequel that he liked, man. Where do you stand on like Art the Clown, the whole Terrifier thing? A lot of
man, I saw the first one. I saw it a long time ago. I thought it was cool. I'm not really into comedy horror, which is funny to hear me say because I know a lot of people thought that Hell Nurse was supposed to be funny.
Yeah.
I didn't intend for it to be funny. It just is that, it's a bad film in that sense, where it's kind of bad so that it's funny. I intended it for it to be kind of bad, but I really didn't intend for there to be any comedy. So that's just really not my style. And then I've heard that the follow-ups were very gory, which I know I'm gonna dig.
Very.
But I'm also in the middle of getting, doing my next film. I've done some test filming, or some test shots and stuff like that. But when I'm in this part of my filmmaking, I really can't watch any other films because it'll inadvertently end up in my film.
I can see that.
I have to be careful of that. And I have a bad enough problem with that anyway, because I haven't really tried to come out and just do something totally unique. I haven't really tried to do that. So I'm already kind of taking inspiration from too much stuff as it is. Then to watch newer films and have my film and that film be out at the same time, it's gonna be like, oh, you're just trying to do like that. Not to mention, everybody already thinks that because Rob Zombie's a musician, I'm a musician, that what I'm doing is going to be what he's trying to do, or what I'm trying to do is what he is doing. And that's not the case. He's we're probably into the same films, the same those Halloween movies and stuff. So there's going to be some similarities, but I deal with a lot of that, with
Did you like Rob's Halloween movies?
I did. I liked the first one.
I know they're very polarizing, man. Some people love them, some people hate them.
Well, some people love them or hate them before it's even out and they even see it. So
I liked what he tried to do. He did try to tell a little bit of backstory in the first one. It was kind of broad strokes, the kid coming from a broken home and abusing the animals and stuff like that. That's all typical like serial killer shit, man. But at least he attempted to give a backstory that is better than giving him some fucking curse of thorn or some crazy shit. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah, man. Yeah, and I liked it, man. I thought it was scary. We watch it still sometimes,
Yeah.
The way that kid kind of, portrayed, it's just, there's some things that are a little distracting about Rob Zombie films to me. Like, number one, all the male characters have long hair. It's hard for me to get past that,
Yeah, that's true.
Not that I care about long hair. It's just that it's distracting, Yeah. It's distracting to me.
I'm going to tell you what's distracting the hell out of me, man. I fucking love that fucking hat. Let me see that hat.
Oh, this is Las Vegas. This is my my dude Joe here in Las Vegas. He's got a dope clothing line. He's got all kinds of stuff. Yeah. He's got
that hat is fire. I got to show you one I got just recently, man. I wore it on the boxing one a bunch of times. Inspired by, of course, the legendary Ghetto Boys, the Fifth Ward Posse hat.
Nice. That's what's up.
Yeah, but so so I think the last time I talked to you last year, you were making or trying to make, and forgive me for not having this right in front of me in my notes. You were trying to do Bury the Hatchet.
Yes.
Okay. And that went good.
Oh, I haven't done it yet. I was doing the test shots, and I've done a bunch of kind of the establishing shots. So here's where I am with that. It's going to take a lot of money to do it. I did Hell Nurse with my money.
Right.
And I got lucky in the sense that I don't know really honestly how, but all these big streaming services picked it up, and it's done. It won't go away. Like my plan for Hell Nurse was for it to be something that kind of came out. I would show it, in a couple of theaters. I thought it might get on a couple of streaming services, but I didn't think it was going to get on, the ones that it has. And
how do they get you on a platform, man? Do they have to come and ask you if it's okay to put your movie on the platform? For those of us that don't know it, man, how does that work? They got to come in and get permission?
No, you get a distributor, and it's just like the record labels. That's how how record labels can try to get you on, or I don't know how it is nowadays, but it used to be the radio stations or into the music stores.
No, nowadays getting your movie onto the platforms is big because like cable TV is almost becoming obsolete. People don't even want to sit through ads or commercials. They can't even fathom it, man. They just want to go to Netflix or Hulu or fucking HBO or whatever the fuck their YouTube.
I'm the same, bro. Like I haven't probably watched commercials unless I probably watched 10 commercials in the last 5 years,
Well, if you grew up in the 70s and 80s, man, you would remember, and I would shudder to fucking be shown in front of me a piece of paper that said how many minutes worth of commercials I sat through in my life. Because back in the day when you were watching cable TV, you had to sit through them. Either you went and got a snack or took a piss and did something during it, but you still had commercial breaks though during everything.
Yeah, man, and and people nowadays wouldn't even have any concept of what it was like when, you know, HBO or whatever, it would be a certain time, like, oh, Halloween's coming on tomorrow night at 10 o'clock, you know, and
Yes.
you schedule it, you know, you get everything, you know, I'm going to make sure I'm done with whatever I'm doing, and I'll be home by 9:30 so I can get set up to watch Halloween, you know.
And also then you wouldn't see it on there again for like another 60 or 90 days. It would be once, and you better catch it or fuck it for a little while. Now you could catch it 2 hours later on another HBO, you know.
Yeah, for
doesn't
sure,
make
man.
it special. I remember I remember I didn't have cable at the time, and my aunt that lived right above me had cable, and I remember it was a big deal on HBO when Popeye came out with Robin Williams.
Yeah.
Every kid I knew wanted to see that Popeye movie.
Right. Well. So, but back to your question, man. I did Hell Nurse with my own money. I got lucky that it got picked up on these streaming services. Been on these streaming services for like a year. Some of them paid really well. So I've made, you know, good money with it. Good. I mean, way more than I would ever have thought. My plan was to put it out, get it seen a little bit, have it go away for a while, and have it kind of be like this kind of underground cult type of thing. You know, you can't really plan a cult classic film or anything.
No.
I don't call it classic,
it's like shit just becomes a groundswell, dude. It just picks up a momentum.
You know, I wanted it to kind of pop up last Halloween, kind of, you know, fade out, and then, you know, a few years later, people will discover it when I do my other films, then they'll find that one. Yeah, that was the plan. But it's still going. It's still on these other services and all that. So I got lucky with that. But Bury the Hatchet, that's going to take, you know, for me to do it the way it needs to be. So another thing with Hell Nurse, it was intentionally done to be like a 70s film. So there's a lot of there's a lot of things that you can do that don't cost money, you know, that and duplicate the 70s style. So, you know, it was easier for me to do it with my own money that way. But this one is not going to be like that. This one is a more modern looking film. It takes place in the 80s, but it's going to be shot modern. It's going to be all the audio, everything is going to be done. You know, I know how to do all that. I just
love that.
You know, I was doing Hell Nurse I was doing that a specific way. So Bury the Hatchet is going to take, you know, a good, easy, you know, 30 to 50,000 to do. I'm not spending my money for that, you know. So
what is the concept of Bury Hatchet? You might have been telling me the last time, man, about like Bury the Hatchet is kind of going to be like a serial killer type of his own, or a guy that's going to be wreaking some havoc. Yeah,
it's a long story short, man. It's like he's a kid who was raised by one of these like really crazy backwoods like Christian families, you know, like really kind of abused and stuff, and he does something really fucked up. He gets cast out into the woods by his family, you know, and when he's a kid, and he grows up in the woods by himself, just, you know, kind of like Friday the 13th Part 2. It's basically going to be kind of like that, you know.
Yeah, I love that.
So
I especially like the religious twist. I like the religious twist on it too. That's cool too.
Yeah, man, that's
almost like Southern noir, type of yeah, I like that.
Yeah, man, the snake charmers and the snake handlers and stuff.
Yeah, it gives me that No Country for Old Men vibe.
Yeah, man.
I like that kind of shit, though, man. That kind of shit, that, you know, like where you think about it and it's not that far fetched to actually conceive it happening. You know,
exactly. You know, and there's a lot of twists in it, of course, but it's just I need more money to do this one than I had to do Bury the Hatchet, than I did for Hell Nurse, and I'm not spending my money. So, but again, Hell Nurse is making the money for it. I'm close. I'm very close. So I will be filming it. I will get back to filming it very soon. And since then, because Hell Nurse, you know, I've spent all of last year promoting the film, which means I entered it into a lot of film festivals. So I traveled around the world, really, you know, to screen to have it screened and in the festivals that it got accepted at. So being at the theaters, watching people watch the film and seeing what they like, what they don't like and stuff. After I was done with the promotion of Hell Nurse, I came back and kind of went through my script of Bury the Hatchet, and I guess you would say streamlined it, and it's going to be a lot more effects in it than I was originally going to have. So
how do you get it made? What are you going to do? Like a Kickstarter or something?
No, the Hell Nurse is very close to covering it.
Oh, okay. Okay. So you're gonna so you're taking everything you made from Hellnurse, putting it right back into another movie again.
Oh yeah,
that's cool.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yeah. And if I need a little extra, then maybe I would do something like that. But I don't know, man. I'm not good at that. Asking people for money, you know what I mean? Like I don't know.
Now, what about when you're out on the road with DOWNSET or you're out doing music? Does that help the filmmaking business at all? Like I imagine you're at you're at festivals, you're playing here, you're playing there. Do people know or find out about? Are many people in the crowd at the shows? Are they familiar with your filmmaking?
Yeah, it's happened. I mean, I try to keep them very separate, but anybody who knows me is gonna probably know about both. But yeah, it has. Like when I was on tour with First Blood in 22, Hellnurse was done, but it wasn't out yet. I had only done test screenings. I did test screenings in 22. Right. So we played a place in Germany that was like there was a big theater, not a big theater, a little theater attached to this venue, and I showed it there, and we just stuff like that. But yeah, people come up and ask me about it, and but again, I try to keep them separate. And with that, and as of right now, I haven't done any touring. I haven't done any touring in a couple of years. I haven't done anything.
But I think once word gets around, though, man, like about your films, man, the hardcore community, especially, man, and you mentioned First Blood, the hardcore community is great about lifting up their own community. You know what I mean? So they'll go out and support your film and get people to support your film. Like you've been in, like, we jumped into the interview talking about films, but you've been in Marauder, First Blood, of course, DOWNSET, man. There's tons of fans of those fucking bands. You know what I mean? That's why I was asking the question: how many of the music fans do you feel like know that you're a filmmaker? You're thinking a good majority of them, though?
If they know, if they care enough about me personally, like I don't mean care, but like if they're interested in me enough personally to be on like my social media or something, then they know about both. Yeah. Or if they come up and start talking to me at shows, it's inevitable I'm going to start talking about films because that's what I'm into, Yeah. So if we get past the pleasantries, like, oh, hey, how you doing? Oh, hey, nice to see you again. Blah, blah, blah. Right. And they start asking me real questions, it's going to go to that. So yeah, they'll know.
Well, I don't have a problem, man. If somebody starts something cool, man, like Danny Marinino wrote a children's book. I mean, he was a hardcore singer, man, but doing something cool like that and branching off and doing something outside of what that culture thinks you would do. You know what I mean? Like Danny's a big, gruff, hardcore singer. Here he writes a children's book, a good one, Yeah,
he's awesome, man. I love Gary. I love Danny. I mean, I love that dude, man.
And it's awesome to know that people are like kind of offshooting, man. Like it's cool you're doing music and you're doing films. But, I imagine the real trade-off is when both fans of the film and the music kind of come together.
It is. Yeah, it's cool. It's cool. But sometimes it can feel like, man, do they really like the film or are they just trying to be nice to me? You know what I mean? Right. For me, the best ones are like, for example, the film festivals. Like I only entered it in festivals where I didn't have any idea who the people were. I don't see how they would know who I am. You know what I mean? Because I'm not nobody in the horror industry. So,
and what is the reception like? Has the reception been good for the film?
It was, good and bad. At the festivals, it's good because if it got accepted to the festivals, then they know that their audience is that type of audience. So like we won best feature film and best director at Shockstock in Canada. And that is like the highlight of my whole artistic career. So to me, that was just, I had no idea, man. I was stoked that we even got accepted. And then we I went out, I had to go alone. It was me and my dog. We had the booth set up and we were there and all of a sudden they come to get me. I'm at the booth talking to people and, I had these big banners and stuff, just trying to get people to, know that Hellnurse exists and maybe check it out. And this was before it screened. They did the awards and the people come to get me. They're like, hey man, hey, you need to come to the ceremony. Come to the ceremony. And I was like, okay. So I go in there and fucking we won. And we were up against a film called Forest Hills. And that is a film that's getting a lot of traction right now. Because that is the film the last film Shelley Duvall did before she passed away.
Oh, so, was it about her mental illness? Because she was kind of mentally ill and on the streets for a while at the end of her life. That was what her story was.
Yeah, no, it wasn't about her. She just played an actual role in the film.
Isn't that funny how our conversation just came full circle? Because like 5 minutes ago, wasn't I talking about the Popeye movie in 1980s? And she was olive oil.
Olive oil, yeah. Yeah, it is. Yeah, that's true, man. So, but yeah, the reception's been great in the places where it got accepted to film festivals because they're not going to bring a film into their festival and then know their audience is going to hate it because they want people to come to their festivals the next year. So it did good, man. It's done. I've won 4 awards with it at festivals. And again, like I say, it was important to me that it wasn't like, oh, hey, my friend that, Danny Northside is having a film festival or something, so I'm going to go enter it and win. Of course, I'm going to win it because he's my boy. You know what I mean? I wouldn't do that. I wouldn't, and
you're kind of presenting it to people that ordinarily probably wouldn't be subjected to it, to see how they really feel about it as a film, judging it on its merits.
Exactly. Exactly.
Not a biased crowd.
Yeah, and nobody wouldn't have any idea that I play music, and they wouldn't care, because why would anybody care about that level of hardcore bands?
Right.
But again,
that's a tough genre to get respected, though. Like, I feel like anyway, critics are already gonna fucking pan fucking horror a lot of times just because they're kind of snobby, obnoxious pricks. Some film critics, So
of course, yeah, and that's fine. I mean, it was hard for me because I'm a drummer, so when I'm in a band, if people don't like the band, I'm the least one to feel the brunt of that. I'm also the
I blame these 4 guys.
yeah, I'm in the back, so, and that happens. You'll be at shows and you can just tell people are hating it, and I just be in the back like, oh fuck, but that's different than doing a film and it's mine and there's literally nobody else to blame. Even the actors, I had to bring their performances down, because it's like, hey man, that scene you just did was a little too convincing. I needed to be a little more awkward,
Yeah.
And they trusted me and they did it. And but at the end of the day, with the people that don't like it, I have nobody else to blame. If someone had a gun to your head and made you choose a musician or director, you could be super successful at either one of them. Which one would it be? The director, easy. I would rather be an unsuccessful director than a successful musician. And that doesn't mean I don't like playing. I do, but it's just a whole different. The creative outlet of it is
it's a different outlet. It is. It's a different outlet.
It's no comparison. Yeah.
And what's DOWNSET like now, man? I was reading that now, man, longtime vocalist Ray is gone, man. So there's a new guy as the front man for DOWNSET now.
Well, DOWNSET's I haven't done anything with DOWNSET since Ray quit. That wasn't why I haven't done it, but Ray quit in
23. No, last year?
No, I think it was 22.
22.
And, then my dude Neil, who I played in a band with called Cutthroat, he was doing vocals, and then my cousin Phil was still playing bass, and they did a tour. They did the tour cycle last year, and I think also in 22. No, they did this year and last year, and I didn't go, but I just started talking. I mean, I've always talked to Roy from DOWNSET. He's the dude. Like me and him are tight. Yeah. Me and him are brothers. Awesome. So, I always stay in contact with him. I just agreed to do. I haven't even told anybody. I agreed like 3 or 4 months ago that man, I'll come. I want to come back and I'll do. He hit me up and asked me if I was down to play, and I was like, well, yeah, man, I haven't been doing shit. I'll do it. And then I've talked to. I still talk to everybody. I talked to Ray. I talked to Roy. I talked to Neil. I talked to First Blood. Everybody, So Jorge from Marauder. I mean, I'm still friends with everybody.
When's the last time DOWNSET put out an album? Have they just recently put out an album?
No, that was the one that I was on. That was in 22, I believe. Okay. And that was the one with Nuclear Blast. Roy, if I don't want to give anything away, but Roy's always working on stuff, and he always makes stuff happen. So
he's a creative guy.
Be more.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. There'll be more. He's a very driven dude. He's very he knows what he's doing, and there'll be more DOWNSET. And I haven't seen I've seen videos of DOWNSET with Neil, and then there was another kid named Joe from Detroit that was singing.
Yeah.
And they sounded good. They both sound cool,
Yeah.
Of course, Ray is Ray, and a lot of people associate DOWNSET to Ray. And I'm a DOWNSET fan first, and a part of the band, second. So I get it. I fully understand that people want Ray there, and Ray's a lot of people that don't know Ray. He's a very artistic dude, man. He's very
He'll do something. He'll find something to do.
Oh, he always does. No, he'll
start up another project somehow. Yeah.
No, he's always doing his thing. You know, he does.
Well, I'm putting it out there right now, man. If he needs a hype man, Reckless Rexx is here for him, dude. But I can't do much more than that.
Yeah. But you never know, man. You never know what could happen. You may see us. You may see the entire DOWNSET band back together sometime. I'm talking about the real ones, not me. I'm talking about the real dudes. You know, I would like to see it. So who knows, man? You just never know.
Now, as somebody that made the movie Hell Nurse, me being a nurse, true or false, man, it's appropriate for me to go into work in the wintertime because it is getting cold here in upstate New York. Is it okay that me working in a nursing home where obviously people are getting old and ultimately passing away, is it crass or not crass to go in with an obituary winter hat on into the nursing home? Does that send a wrong message?
Man, you know, I don't go to hospitals, so you know, I try to avoid that.
Hat, but not the best hat to wear though into the home though. A hat that says obituary.
I would say that's I would say it's pushing it.
In poor taste. Hey, so I want to slip a couple of my subjective questions in just for people to help get to know you and stuff. Cool. The greatest gig that you've ever been to as a fan, is there one that sticks out in your mind that really was memorable?
That I've been to?
That you saw? Yeah, not that you played in, that you sat in the audience and watched.
I mean, there's been a lot. The one that sticks out to me the most is the first time I saw Hatebreed. And well, actually, it was the first time I saw him. And they were opening for Slayer, and it was Slayer with Dave Lombardo, who is that's my drum god, you know,
one of the greats.
You know, Dave Lombardo. Yeah, so it was Slayer had reunited. You know, it was all the original guys, Hanneman, everybody, and Slayer was played before them at the House of Blues. And I was just dying to see Slayer, man, and Hatebreed came on and just smoked them. It was not even close, you know. And I just couldn't believe it, man. That was like the best show I've ever seen in my life. Was Hatebreed at the House of Blues in Las Vegas, opening for Slayer.
And now, what if you, as a musician, could put together, man, like take whatever great band that you're in, DOWNSET, Marauder, First Blood, pick a band, and what would be your dream bill? 2 other bands to play with. That would be your ultimate fucking concert ticket you'd want to be on.
My favorite bands that I could watch every night. Would probably be Obituary. I mean, I've toured a lot with Hatebreed, so I mean, opening for them. So let's say. I'm going to probably regret this later because I'm going to think of somebody that I didn't think of. But I'm going to have to go with Obituary. So us, Hatebreed, Obituary, or Napalm Death, and then Obituary.
That's nice. Slid Napalm in there on me.
Oh, dude. Yeah. That's where I would, that's what I would.
I think Napalm Death is the most funniest band in the world, man, because Barney, when he gets out there and sings, man, he's dressed like the guy that could be doing your taxes.
I know, man, with his bicycle shorts and stuff.
But just like a regular, middle-aged guy, you know what I mean? It's mowing his lawn next door to you, man. And then he gets out there and just looks crazy, man. So, when you got started in the music side of your life, was there an artist or an album or a song that really kind of lit the fire for you to want to do music? What's the first shit you heard that really started you on your way?
Oh, that was Kiss. I mean, I was, when I was a kid, there was Kiss. And then I found out about the Clash and Black Flag. Punk bands. Clash is technically a punk band. By the time I found them, they were already kind of like a pop band. But Black Flag for sure. And then it was Iron Maiden. Iron Maiden, massive influence for me. Even though I don't play like that, I would never want to play that kind of music. But I was really into them. And then the one that really got me was Suicidal Tendencies. That was probably my, and of course the obvious ones, Metallica, Slayer. I got into when I was probably like 14 or 15. Yeah. And that blew my leg off, man. That was crazy.
Suicidal is the fucking best, man.
I would have to say that Suicidal is probably the most influential for me,
Yeah, because Suicidal almost seems to come from a lot of different directions, man. Like there's the thrash, there's the punk, there's kind of the hip hop vibe, man. Because they're kind of like street dudes. Yeah, they got their own cool thing going.
They do, man. And then my favorite albums is the first one, Then the second
How
one was
Will I
cool.
Laugh Tomorrow is a classic. A classic.
Oh my God, man. But I think my all-time favorite is the one they did right after that, which was the EP, the Feel Like Shit, Deja Vu, Controlled by Hatred.
Yeah, that's a good
one. And then when they came out with the Art of Rebellion, that was just like so weird. But I was at a really weird time in my life at that time. So that album spoke to me too, you know?
Yeah.
And they were just, you know, they were amazing, man. They were amazing.
And, so the plan you got right now is the next movie that you're going to make is Bury the Hatchet, though. That's the one you're trying to get made right now.
Yeah, that'll be the next one. If I do, I'm considering doing a short film first, you know, just to kind of test out some new camera gear that I've gotten, you know, because all this time that I'm, that I'm not filming, I have been collecting gear and buying stuff that I'm going to need and things like that. So I haven't just been doing nothing. But I haven't had the money to just really start it, you know, start filming it. But I was thinking about I might do this short film. That one will be like a horror comedy, even though I said that's not like my thing. I just kind of want to do it, you know. And the main reason would be to kind of test out the new gear, get familiar with it before I really get into the trenches with Bury the Hatchet.
And you still like going out and fucking touring, man? Because I find, man, that people probably as they get older, they want to be away from home less or be out on the road less. It seems great when you're young, but you've been pounding away on the drums, which is a physical instrument, and touring for a while, man. You still like because the touring part's a big part of the grind nowadays. You got to be on the road and selling merch, man. You still love getting out there and grinding on the road, or not so much?
Not so much. It just depends. It depends on where it is, what time of the year it is. You know, like going to Europe in the winter can be really rough. And as long as it's, you know, it just depends on who it's with. If everything's cool, if it's a good vibe. Anytime my cousin comes with me, who is, you know, the bass player of DOWNSET, anytime he's with me, man, me and him, like, he's played in every band I've ever been in. So not every band, but every band I've ever toured in, you know, or every band I've ever toured overseas in. So you know, it just depends. It depends on that. But no, I would rather be home with my dog and my woman, and, you know, remodeling my house. And
that all sounds better. Yeah, I know. I'm a homebody too.
Building Blockbuster videos in my house. See that?
Nice. Oh, that's a throwback. That's a throwback right there.
Yeah. Just, you know,
Blockbuster couldn't even exist in today's society. Like, nobody would ever use it.
Nah. There's one in Oregon.
Those were the days, man, for the audience that doesn't know what he's talking about, when people went out and actually rented movies, physically got a DVD or a VHS tape before that.
Yeah.
You signed it out, like at the library. You borrowed it.
A
couple of nights.
And there is still one. There's one in Oregon. I drove out there when I first started filming. When I went to get the establishing shots for Bury the Hatchet, you know, like all the drone shots and the aerials and stuff, I went out to the Pacific Northwest. You know, Oregon is the only place you can get those really vast forest shots. You know, that's where most of my films take place, is in the Pacific Northwest. And I went there and I spent one night at a hotel right down the street from the last remaining Blockbuster video, just so I could rent. I went in, rented DVDs, went to my hotel room, watched them. You know, I got the Blockbuster experience one last time. And if it's still open next time I go out there, I'm gonna do it again.
Are there any new movies? Like, when's the last time that a horror movie struck you as really good? Has anything come out recently that, as a filmmaker yourself, has really impressed you? Do you like anything that's any new horror?
Well, from what I hear about the Terrorizer stuff, I know I really think I'm gonna like it. I liked oh man, I can't remember the name of this movie right now. It had this kind of strange looking girl, almost looks like the kid from the Rob Zombie Halloween, and her head gets knocked off by a pole when her brother's driving. What movie was that?
I don't know. I don't watch a lot of new horror. I'm kind of stuck in a time warp when it comes to horror. You know what I mean? Like that.
It's not even that new, man. It's probably like 5 or 6 or maybe 10 years old. I don't know. But I can't remember, man, what it's called. I'll think of it as soon as we get off.
I saw a good one that's now up on YouTube, and I interviewed one of the guys who played in it. It's called Butchers, and it's fucking great, man. It's absolutely It's a slow burn, really sick, twisted characters, and a sick, twisted fucking ending on it, man. But it wasn't gore soaked. That's what I liked about it. It felt like an old Halloween movie where suspense built, and you felt the sense of danger closing in, but it waited. You know what I mean? And then gave you a great ending. You know what I mean? But you kind of were along for the ride instead of just I hate when a movie has to rely on too much gore though to try to scare you. You know?
Yeah, yeah. It shouldn't be too much, but at the same time, like I said, man, I was talking about sitting in the, watching the audience members, man. A lot of people were just dying in Hellner's because there's a big. That's how the '70s films were. There was like the kind of the beginning part, then there's the big build up, and then the last like 10 minutes of the film is when everything happens. And people were just fucking dying, man. I mean, they're just like literally dying, in the middle of Hellner's. So that's when I knew that, man, I can't have this big story. People just don't have that level. I don't want to make it in an insulting way. It's because we're so used to, we can get fed so much stuff, with YouTube shorts videos and all that. I do it too, man. I sit and if I'm watching a video and they take 10 seconds to explain, I'll turn the shit off. I'm just like that too.
Yeah.
So
me too. I'm guilty.
There's got to be a lot of action. There's got to be a lot of activity and a little less storyline, or I just got to be better at the directing and better at the storytelling. That's the hardest part, trying to tell your story, translating it to the screen, especially with limited budgets, but, this film Butchers, I don't know. Maybe I'll try to check that out. Again, I can't watch.
I'll send you the link. I'll send you a link. I literally found it. I read about it online, and I literally went. Maybe this isn't a good sign. I don't know, but I found it immediately on YouTube and paid nothing to watch it.
Nice. Yeah.
Yeah. It was just there on YouTube. There was the whole hour and 30 minutes, man. And it was a pretty good. It was a pretty good, and like I said, it wasn't just nonstop killing all the way through. I mean, there was really a story to it that it was building. Kind of a predictable story, one that we've definitely seen hints of before, but entertaining though. Which you can't say for a lot of horror movies. I don't know.
Yeah.
Do you like in the Rob Zombie movie where he makes Michael Myers so fucking big?
It's effective, but it's not. It's not what was scary about Michael Myers,
Right. It doesn't make him seem as fucking supernatural when you got to just make him a giant behemoth that could probably fuck up anybody in his way anyway.
Yeah, exactly. And it has its own effect. It's different than the original, but that's what he was probably trying to do. He wanted it to, and that's the beauty. That's the best part of filmmaking. That's clearly what freaks him out is big giant people, and that's what scares him, and he's trying to connect to other people who that is scary to, and it's it's effective. It's effective. But the original Michael Myers, just a normal sized dude that's just so evil,
much scarier.
I mean, nobody can expect Rob Zombie to recreate that.
One thing I will say about Rob Zombie, he's loyal to the fucking actors, though. I'm trying to think of all of his movies, and I feel like it's the same cast of characters that are in all of them. He gets his wife in all of them. He gets that guy that played Uncle Spalding the clown there. He's got him in every movie.
Yeah.
Even the Halloween movies he worked him into. He gets that other guy, man, that was in the Devil's Rejects with the long hair. He gets him in all his movies.
Yeah. I think that he does a lot of homages. I think that those people were all in films that he probably liked when he was growing up, like Bill Moseley. I can't remember he was in Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 2, which I remember that film. That film was great. His character in that was awesome. So I think it's great, man. I think it's cool that he has the resources to do that and bring those people. And I get it. I fully get it. It may not translate, super well to everybody, but I understand what he's doing.
So I guess I would be remiss if I didn't have you on here because we've talked a lot at length about film and the filmmaking side of stuff, man. We only touched on DOWNSET a little bit, man. But the other musical, do you have any musical projects in the works, or is filmmaking the top priority right now? Like, I mean, you mentioned you might go back to DOWNSET and do some stuff. Any other musical projects going on?
I am doing DOWNSET in 25. I'm gonna go out to Europe this summer. We were gonna go in January. But there was I don't know, there was some problem with something. I can't remember what it is, but we rolled those shows over to some of those to the summer. We're gonna do some festivals. That's pretty much it. I'm always kind of writing my own music and stuff. And right now I'm recreating some of the I don't want to say the band because me and my woman, we do a podcast. We haven't done any episodes in a while, but we're gonna try to have one out by next week.
All right.
The band that's about, there's a person in that band. I'm trying to recreate some of the music for the show because if you use it, YouTube will just shut it off.
I'll watch a podcast with you, man. I genuinely like you. I'd watch a podcast with you, man. It's so hard to watch them all because nowadays everybody with a laptop and a microphone, including myself, I'm guilty of it, man. Everybody's out there trying to podcast, you know?
Yeah, I know it's tough, man. But the way we do it, like what I'm fascinated with is locations, like filming, like locations of movies, locations where people died, things like that.
Oh,
so
that's
I'll
cool.
travel, I'll go there. You know,
I'll
like
watch that shit.
we did the American World for London. So when I was out there on tour with Cutthroat. We were on the it was a big Euro tour. It's the biggest one they have every year. Persistence tour.
Yeah.
And when that ended, me and my friend Tess, we rented a car. It ended in London, and we rented a car and drove all the way down to Wales, where they filmed American World for London. And I went and I talked to people in the pub where the film was actually filmed, and
cool.
you know, all the locations and stuff. So that's the kind of stuff our show is, you know.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool to do that. Yeah. I saw a guy that was doing a show on YouTube, and he was doing that. He was more going to film locations, though. It's like he did one with the Karate Kid, and he showed you all the places where the fight scenes took place on the beach, where the school was, where he got beat up, where the Cobra Kai dojo was on that corner in Los Angeles. He just went to all the places throughout the. And I'm telling you, man, fucking entertaining as fuck, man. So a lot of the places still look the same, but most of them are completely different. There's like a house built there, or there's something gone. It's crazy, man. I mean, you're talking like 40 years ago.
Yeah, bro. And that's what we do, man. I've done and I do like musicians. So you probably remember back in the 80s when or have heard about when Vince Neil got in that. Well, now that movie came out, so everybody knows about it. You know, Razzle. Yeah. Well, I don't know, a few years ago, or I don't know, maybe 4 years ago, we went down to Redondo Beach where it happened, and we filmed, and we showed all the footage, you know, like not all the footage, but we filmed everything where it happened and all that. So you should check it out, man. It's called 85 Grave. That's
okay. Send me a link to it. Just send me a link to it, and I will check it out. It's got to the point where if I'm not doing my own, I'm just watching somebody else's podcast. I don't even really have a TV life anymore. Me and my wife might have like 1 or 2 shows throughout the whole week that we sit down and watch together. Otherwise, we're just both kind of crunching away on our phones into different interests, you know?
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, that's pretty much it, man. As far as music, you know, I haven't really started playing drums again. I haven't touched drums in about 2 years. So I've just barely kind of started setting them back up, starting to play again to get ready for the summer that's coming up. And other stuff that we're gonna, you know, we got to start rehearsing and stuff. So
Are you anybody that's thought about drafting up a script on how to bring Michael Myers back? The door obviously seems wide open, and in that last movie, him going into that thing that grated him up into fucking ground beef is not going to be permanent. It looks like there's talks to bring him back somehow, either a TV show or somebody reviving the series again.
I mean, best of luck to them. You know, I mean, if I was going to do something like that, I would go for something a little more obscure that hasn't already been done, like Zombie did it, and then, you know, the Halloween franchise itself continued beyond. I would probably go back for something like The Stuff. Remember that movie?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I would go back for something like that, you know. And people wouldn't even like it, so it would be kind of a waste of time, but I would still do it, and I would love doing it, you know. But to bring Myers back, man, I don't know, man. First thing you'd have to do is watch the 20 films that already happened and make sure you're not doing 32.
I think at some point in that last one, when they put him in that grinder, you would had to have somehow had him, before that happened to him, have him pass on fucking something to a younger generation, because he can't keep being the one in his 60s. It just doesn't seem plausible. You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, you know, even with him being quote unquote inhuman, you know, how long can this guy be a killing machine for? Now you're talking about a guy in his fucking 70s. I mean, come on, man. He's got to get old, right?
Yeah.
You know, you got to pass it on to somebody younger. If not, then the franchise just needs to die.
Yeah. I mean, that's. I think it's already gone a little too far. But if they put out another film, I'll see it. I want to go. I want to. You know, my favorite part that they've done. Oh, I could think of another horror film. Dr. Sleep. That's not really new, but I fucking loved that film, man. It was great the way they recreated the hotel and all that. And that's what I liked about the newer Halloween. They picked up on, you know, at the end of Halloween 1 when he had escaped. They went back and they showed you know, the next, you know, couple of hours after that. And that was really cool, man. They did a really great job. You get to see Michael Myers actually run, you know, which he didn't do, which is kind of weird, but it's impossible for him to have done any of that stuff without, you know, at least lunging at people, because nobody would ever get caught. So
it's also great to see Jamie Lee Curtis in those last three too, because let's face it, man, she is a face that people attach to the franchise, you know.
Yeah, as long as she's there, you know, it's going to carry some weight, you know. Hey, while we're talking about Halloween, I want to tell you a quick story.
Sure.
My friend Hefe, he has a tattoo parlor down in Arizona, Williams, Arizona. So anyways, he came to a festival here, a horror film convention, I mean, and he got Tony Moran, you know, he's friends with me, knows him or whatever. After the convention, we all went to his host. You know who Tony Moran is, right?
The young Michael Myers that was unmasked. He was pulled.
Exactly,
he was pulled off of the original.
He's the OG Michael Myers.
It's the first look. It's the first look we got at him, man, when he was a crazy adult, when she pulled the mask off him in that shot.
Yeah, exactly, man. Anyway, we went and hung out with him at his hotel room afterwards, and he tattooed both of us. So I got tattooed by the real Michael Myers, you know.
That's awesome. He's a tattoo artist?
No. He does these like really like
crude.
Looks like a sixth grader drew some shit, you know.
Hey, still, you know what, man? I'm with you, dude. I think I would find skin on my body and let him hit me somewhere, man, with something.
I let him get the inside of my arm.
He's a fucking legend, man. Yeah. I've got one sign back here. You can't see it because it's kind of behind my puppet there, but it's signed by Brad Lorry. He was on my show. He was the guy that was Michael Myers in the one where the kids went and tried to stay in the house, the one with Busta Rhymes.
I didn't see that one.
Yeah.
That was like 5 or 6 or something.
It was a bunch of college kids fucking had to spend the whole day and night in the old Myers house, and they wore like GoPros, and it was televised out through the internet so you could watch it. But Michael Myers is actually there and starts offing them. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. See, that's what I mean, man. If I was gonna try to bring him back, I'd have to go back and watch all these fucking films and try to, you know, and make sure. I know that every one of these, when they do it, they pretend like the other ones didn't happen. But you wouldn't want to do something that was already done, you know.
Well, Busta Rhymes fucking survived in that one. Yeah, he didn't die.
So he broke the stereotype of the black kid in the film.
I think from what I remember, him and Tyra Banks were in the movie, and they had a film company that somehow got some funding to put this dumb event on over the internet and go draft a bunch of college kids to spend the night in the old Myers house, you know. And and apparently Michael goes back there down in the basement and fucking chills, man. So you ain't safe there, man, because he might be lurking.
Man, yeah. I mean, you know. That's another thing that still creeps me out, man. Scary houses, scary, you know, like, especially at night, you know, but I like that because other than that, I got a pretty dead heart, you know, as far as like things, nothing really scares me. Like people don't scare me. Police, none of that shit scares me. But paranormal stuff or anything lurking in the dark, that still scares me. So
scary.
I like that stuff.
It's pretty scary. And so, obviously you're doing, you know, you said you want to do Bury the Hatchet. Do you have in mind ever any films that go outside the horror genre? Is there a project you're thinking of making that would not be in the horror genre?
I did write a film. It wouldn't be something I would try to film myself, but I did write a script that's like a sci-fi thing. I would call it kind of something similar to what was that film with? I think it was Will Smith, where they knew crimes were going to happen before they happened.
Will Smith, and who else was in that with him?
I don't remember, man. I think it was Will Smith.
I automatically, every time I think of Will Smith, I think of him, you know, fucking beating that fucking UFO in Independence Day. And I always just think, like, it makes me laugh to think Will Smith is going to be one of the last few people on Earth if an Armageddon happens.
Right.
You know?
Minority Report is called.
I know. Yeah. Okay.
It's not anything like that, but I would call it in that field, you know. So I only wrote it not because I just really wanted to do it. It was an idea that came to my head. And I was just like, man, I got to put this down because it's a cool concept. I don't know what I'll ever do with it. I just have it. I haven't showed it to anybody or even really told anybody about it.
Well, I wouldn't say there's a lot of great sci-fi stuff coming out. Like, that's definitely a genre you could work your way into, man. There's not a lot of great shit coming out in the sci-fi world, I don't think.
No, there's not. But, you know, man, I mean, again, you know, a film like that would take millions of dollars to do. So I'm not doing that. I don't even have the experience to do that. Like, if you gave me $50 million to film that, I would say, like, I'm not doing this because I'll fuck it up. You know, I don't have that kind of experience. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But you know, for me, nah, man, I like horror. You know, that's my thing. I think that as a filmmaker, you know, the fun of it, the fulfillment of it is trying to recreate vibes that you have felt for not only yourself, but to try to get somebody else to feel that.
Right.
That hasn't really happened completely yet that I know of.
Right.
But that's my ultimate goal, to have somebody else feel how I have felt watching one of these movies in the middle of the night when I was a kid, and with it's dark outside and everybody's asleep, it's 2 a.m. and all that, you know. And I think that's the goal of it. And I wouldn't have the interest to be a good director at doing a sci-fi film, because I just don't have that desire to recreate that vibe. I don't really have you get what I'm saying?
Yeah. What about like writing something that has to do with like more like real life, man? You know what I mean? Like a true, like a grit kind of story. You know what I mean? Like, you're a guy that's been in the military. You know what I mean? You live in California, man. Street life, all that kind of shit, man. You know what I mean? There could be an interesting movie in there. I'm sure you've seen some shit out in your neck of the woods. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I have. I mean, the only thing I could kind of relate to that would be like say like a life story of mine.
I think a movie about you. Yeah, I'm going to make a movie about you. No one's taking this idea. I'm going on record tonight on this episode of Pod Scum. This is going to be, I don't know, when I put it out, it's going to be somewhere in the episode of 240 something. I'm saying it right here with Bobby that I'm making the Bobby Blood story. I don't know a fucking thing about filmmaking, but I'll write it down as a book first. You got to give me detail. That's an interesting story, man, especially that you have a military background and played music and getting into filmmaking. That's all cool shit, man. I've watched fucking documentaries about people that don't even deserve a fucking documentary. Get documentaries made about them. It's sad, you know, people who don't even give a shit about.
Yeah, man. I mean, I don't know that there would be enough content, you know, for a film, especially as long as there's I don't know how to put this.
What's the big goal for you? Like, what would you like to see, man? Like, do you like the directing side of you? Do you like the idea of what's the ultimate goal? Because I'm not a filmmaker myself. Seriously, is it getting a theatrical release? Is it getting how high do you think Oscar nomination? Like, what do you like? How far will you go in your filmmaking field? Will you stay like making these level films, or would you like to be graduating up to like big things and be known as a big director?
I would like to make a film that I intend for a very small audience that somehow gets accepted and loved by a bigger audience. But I'm not ever going to try to make something that I think would be a big mainstream film. I will try to make it to where people enjoy the film. You know, I'm not going to, so you're saying something that, as we said earlier, I used the word groundswell. You know what I mean? Like something that just breaks big and word of mouth really spreads it around, but really starts as nothing. Like what Matt Damon and Ben Affleck did. They wrote that first movie themselves when they were kids, and they got Robin Williams to play in it. What was the what was the fucking movie? The Boston Kids, right?
Yeah. Fuck, I can't fucking remember.
Good Will Hunting.
Good Will Hunting, yes. Yeah. And they burst on the scene, and suddenly by word of mouth, and of course, a great performance by Robin Williams. You can't take that away from him, man. You get a guy like that to star in your movie, you're doing pretty good, man. But I mean, shit, a groundswell, man, and then it becomes a cult classic, and then now it's literally considered like a great fucking movie.
Well, that's it, and that's what I want. I want to create a, and I kind of understand a little bit better what you're asking me. My ultimate goal, my top thing that I would want is to create a serial killer or a character, a killer that has its own life, you know, like a Michael Myers, a Jason Voorhees, Art the Clown, even something like that, so that the people in my films can go and do the festivals. And I don't mean so they could do that, but I mean that it would be big enough that they would have their own careers just from being in a film I would that would be my ultimate goal. I think I can get to that point.
And you feel like Barry the Hatchet is that character, or could be that character?
I believe so. I really believe so. It's going to come down to, I think the story is there. It's going to be up to my directing. It's going to be up to my, and this is one of the reasons that I'm not doing it until I have everything I really, really need, because I'm not going to do another film where it's almost like you want to have to explain to people, well, hey man, this is supposed to be like this kind of film, so it's not really something that you're used to seeing. Like, I don't want to have to explain shit. I just want it to be, it's going to be my exact story, and it's going to have it's going to check all the marks that are important to me. But I believe so. If I do my job well, then yes, I believe it will. I think that will be that for me and for everybody else. Yeah.
And what about being on the other side of the camera? Do you have any interest in appearing in any of your films, or do you appear in any of your films?
I'm gonna do a little part in Bury the Hatchet, but I'm not good at acting. When I was in film school and stuff, you always have to be in other people's projects. They'll give you they'll say, okay, hey, you've got 2 days to, you got to do a 4-minute this or that, and everybody has to be in each other's films. And man, I'm horrible. I just cannot act. I can't do it. So,
where do you live?
What's up?
Where are you currently? Are you still out on the West Coast? Is that where you're living?
Yeah, I live in Las Vegas.
Las Vegas. Fuck, man. I wish you weren't so goddamn far away, man. I want to have a part in fucking Bury the Hatchet, man. I wouldn't let you down. I on the other hand, feel like acting is a calling for me, man. I do.
Bro, you could come out. I got a dude coming from UK to be in this film.
I would not do you wrong in a fucking part. As a matter of fact, I feel like, not to sound sarcastic or narcissistic and pat myself on the back, but I feel like I get what actors are supposed to do in a role. You know what I mean? Like, I feel like I'm a natural at it, man. I mean, I'm putting on an act here where it's essentially every single night, you know what I mean? And trying to add a little bit of shtick so I stand out amongst other podcasts. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I feel it. Dude, so I would fully have you out. No question.
I would love to. Well, let me know whenever you're gonna start fucking shooting, man. I'll fly myself out, dude. Don't worry about that, man. You know what I mean? I would love to come out just for the honor of being in it, man. That'd be a great getaway for me and my wife, because we're empty nesters. We're always talking about taking a trip.
Yeah, of course, man.
Yeah,
dude, Vegas, you guys could come through. I have a 5-bedroom house with
Vegas would be
me and my girl, so
Vegas would be a lot of fun, man. It'd be a fun vacation, man, and making a cameo and killing someone in your movie, or even getting killed. I'd be honored to be killed, dude. I would.
Oh, you'll get killed for sure.
Yeah. That'd be great, man. And so, okay, I'm going to ask you another subjective one now. What would be, if I were to take Bobby and drop him on a desert island, what would the desert island album be if you could only take one?
One album?
Yeah, I know that's a grim fucking situation, man, but you're on a desert island with one fucking piece of music.
It's probably going to be Alice in Chains' Dirt.
Oh, I love that. What a great pick, man.
That's
You'll probably spend a lot of time on the island fucking depressed. You can be guaranteed of that, but at least the tunes are good.
Well, especially if I could do have you ever read Survivor Type?
Survivor Type? No, is it a book?
It's a short story in one of his books. I think it's Skeleton Crew or Night Shift. It's one of those. Okay.
I try to write down interesting shit. Like if someone brings up a cool piece of work or an album or something,
I don't want to give it away, or do you want me to just give it away and tell you what it's about?
Sure. Yeah.
It's about this guy. He was like a jock, not even a jock. He was just trying to. He played football to get through school so that he could get into college so he could become a surgeon.
Okay.
So he became a surgeon, but he was also selling pharmaceutical, drugs from the pharmacy and stuff. He was always hustling, just kind of like a dirtbag,
Yeah.
So this boat crashes or a plane crashes. I can't remember which one it is, but he ends up on this island it's just him, and he's got and these bricks of heroin. That's all he's got. So as he starts starving to death, first he gets injured trying to catch a seagull. So as he begins to starve to death, he starts using the heroin to anesthetize himself.
Sure.
He starts cutting body parts off and eating his own body parts. And the story is his journal of the time. So you're reading what he's writing as it's like a found footage like a found journal story. You know what I'm saying?
And this is called what now again?
Survivor Type.
Survivor Type?
Yeah.
TYPE?
TYPE.
And this is a book or a movie?
It's a book, but it's a short story. In a book of short stories by Stephen King. It's either Skeleton Crew or Night Shift.
Holy shit, dude! I'll tell you what, man. What you just described, that shit's terrifying.
Oh, dude,
that's terrifying.
Yeah. But back to your question. Yeah, if I was stuck on an island with dirt and a bunch of heroin, I think I'd be all right. I've never done that kind of stuff, but I'm gonna do it then. Fuck it.
But hey, man, I mean, if you're gonna die, man, I mean, you know, in the nursing home, I see it all the time when people are passing away. Man, we're giving them, you know, concentrated doses of morphine to kind of help them along and keep them sedated as they go through the process. You know?
Yeah.
It's not necessarily the worst way to go, man. You just got a whole bunch of blow out there with you, man. You know, I mean. There's certainly worse ways to probably go.
Well, I would say for sure, man. I could be alone, man. I'm good with being alone. You know, I would be fine. You know, other than just that I would miss my family here in Vegas, but I would be okay stuck on an island.
Now, has your body held up pretty good over the years? Because obviously, drumming in aggressive, extreme metal bands is one of the more physical jobs in the band. I think everybody would agree on that. You know what I mean? I've had drummers on that talk about they have to change the height of their stool or change the layout of their kit because of little tweaks and aches and pains. Have you been subjected to any of that?
A little bit. Not. I think I have something wrong with my right wrist, where and that's been an issue for several years. Even back in like Cutthroat and stuff, we would go to rehearse, and I would have to be like, "Hey, man, you know, we can only rehearse for like a couple of hours," and then my wrist just starts giving out, you know, and I didn't want to push it. And then I have some like ear ringing and stuff, you know, but that's from the military. So, but no, for the most part, I'm good. You know, I had a car wreck in 2018. I got in a wreck out in the Midwest in my truck, totaled my truck, and fucked my back up. That haunts me a little bit, but no, for the most part, man, I still do my boxing, working out and stuff like that. I still train in my gym. I could never compete again, but I still do all that stuff, you know?
So you're a fan of boxing, a big fan of boxing.
Oh yeah. I mean, not so much, you know, it's hard to kind of keep up with who's around nowadays, but you know.
Obviously what we just saw the other night, a huge travesty, right? Mike Tyson losing to fucking Jake Paul. Dude, I can't even believe it, man. My whole childhood with Mike Tyson is fucking ruined. I can't even unsee what I just saw. All Mike Tyson did the whole 6 months prior to that fight was put up videos of him looking fucking amazing in fucking training. Man. And then suddenly he comes in on fight night and can't execute anything at all. You know, like it was all just wiped clean out of his mind or something. He was a beast in 6 months training. He was tearing into the heavy bags, cutting off the ring like a fucking madman with his footwork.
And I'm one of the people that was just saying, like, if this fight's real, then you know, Jake Paul doesn't have a chance, and no that's way. Not a slight on Jake Paul. I respect what he's doing, and I respect his dedication. But you can't just go in there with somebody like if Mike Tyson would have been 20% of himself, it would have been no chance. But I don't know, man. When the fight was happening, at first I was like, I couldn't figure out if he was intentionally like not. You know, like letting him off the hook, like not going after him, or if he had a foot, like a knee injury. I think his knee was hurt.
He was wearing a brace on it. I did notice that, man. But there are a lot of signs, man. People have picked apart the fight a lot, man. Like him doing the biting his gloves things throughout the fight was kind of to remind himself to not let his hands go and kind of let Jake dictate the pace. The whole thing does feel a little bit scripted. Netflix banned them both.
Really? Is that true?
So they won't so they won't host. Yeah, you can look that up on Google, man. That's a verified fact that Netflix apparently must think something is a foul here because they don't want any more fights associated with either one of those dudes.
Wow,
so that doesn't speak well, man. You know, that doesn't speak well.
Yeah. It wasn't a good look, man. It wasn't a good look, and
no, especially Mike Tyson, man. Come on, man. He learned from Cus D'Amato, man. What would Cus be thinking right now, seeing Mike take a dive for $20 million fucking dollars? I can't believe it myself. It's insane, man. I mean, I don't have my boxing podcast. Me and my son don't do it as much no more. But I would, if I had that forum, I would be super critical of this and be ripping into it. So since we're talking about boxing, it's a good chance to talk about it. But it's fucking criminal, man. It's criminal. They need to drub this guy right out. He's just scripting fights like his brother Logan went to WWE. I think Jake thinks he's doing that same thing with boxing. He's just paying for names on his resume and just playing boxing. It's sad.
And that would be my, that would be my polite critique of him, is that if he is truly trying to become a championship boxer, if he truly is, then he's not going about it the right way, and that's putting it kindly, And what I mean by that is, you would know this. You come up in boxing and you lay low and you fight. You fight different types of
fighters.
Real fighters. You fight left-handers. You fight power punchers. You fight slow guys. You fight fast guys. You learn what the fuck you're doing. You spar. You go, and that's what I did. I spent 2 years pretty much just being in sparring camps and people sparring. Yuri Boy Compass, fucking. I can't even name all the people. But he's not developing. So
you can't just and it doesn't count, man, when you go out and get like an almost 60-year-old Mike Tyson. As you said, man, fight somebody in that weight range that's actually ranked right now by one of the ranking fucking federations. A real guy your age who's fucking hungry and is not going to take the payout. That's the hard thing right there, Bobby, is all these dudes want that fucking payout. Now everybody's lining up to come out of retirement to fight Jake Paul. Andre Ward has expressed an interest. Better Biev. There's been Canelo, and now is entertaining it. All these people, man, realize it now. It's a way to fucking link up to him and make big bread, Well,
and that's just kind of lends towards the changing of the landscape of things, It's no longer, and look at guys like Shakur Stevenson and any of these guys. They haven't even really done anything yet, and they're already demanding the attention and the paydays as if they,
That's a good point. That's a good point. Because in the 70s and 80s, man, the best were fighting the best. You didn't see any of this. I'm going to talk. We're just going to talk about a fight for fucking 3 years, and nothing ever happens, Yeah,
exactly. That's what's funny to me too, man, about all these young dudes that don't have any respect for De La Hoya. And I get it, man. He's an easy target with all the dumb shit he does, and the fishnet stuff and all that. But do they have any fucking idea who that dude is and what he did? He came up and he fought. Everybody.
I said it many times on Off the Couch Boxing. I mean, he's my all-time favorite, man. I love Oscar.
Yeah, man.
I know he said as you said, some fucked up shit, man, that you can't turn the other cheek on, man.
Yeah, but man, separate him. Separate him. Say De La Hoya the promoter, but when they start talking like he's some kind of wimp or something, it's like, dude, you don't know what if any fighter today did what he's doing, their minds would just be blown, because he didn't give a shit if he lost, Oh,
I know. I had a very controversial Off the Couch Boxing episode where I actually went on record and dissected the reasons as to why he won that Floyd Mayweather fight. He did beat Floyd Mayweather. He won that fight.
I believe so.
Yeah.
I believe he did. And he for sure beat Trinidad, and Trinidad was my favorite fighter. And I'm telling you, he was my favorite. I used to get sparring assignments for people who were going to fight Trinidad, because we're the same height. I was the same weight, and I fight a lot like him. I'm slow. I mean, he's not slow. I'm slow. He was slow for that level. I'm slow,
right?
In any level. So I would get used. William Joppy, Yori Boy, Kevin something, I can't remember his name. I would get the sparring assignments because they were going to fight Trinidad, and he was my favorite fighter, man. And I had Joppy on. I
had William Joppy on the podcast. William Joppy is cool.
Yeah, that's what's up, man.
Yeah, that's good dude. I would have loved to have Oscar, but now that Oscar is Golden Boy, he's kind of hard to attain an interview with. You got to go through a lot of channels to get Oscar.
Yeah, I bet, man. I bet.
Unfortunately, you got to have a high profile to land Oscar interviews.
Or a bag of cocaine, man. Throw that away. Just wave it like that, Now I'm talking shit about him,
No, but he is one of the GOATs, though, man. You make a good point. You can't deny what the dude did in the ring, though, man. I mean, he won belts in 6 weight classes. I mean, that's pretty fucking good.
That is, and the people were mad about Canelo too. He's doing, they're saying that nobody ever really appreciates it. I'm not saying he's great. Yeah, there's, he should fight Benavidez. There's things he should do, but and I know that if he does that, let's say Canelo fights Benavidez, nobody's gonna give him any credit for it. The people that are the most demanding that he fights Benavidez are people who don't like him. So as soon as he beats let's say he fights him and beats him, oh,
Right.
well, he waited for Benavidez to get old, or he waited.
It's kind of
for,
right. I was gonna say it's kind of a win-win for him, man. Because if Canelo like fucking stalls and drags his feet and takes another fight or two, and then goes out in a blaze against Benavidez, you know, if he loses, it doesn't even really help Benavidez's career because now Benavidez looks like he just beat up an old dude. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly, man. And
good strategy, I guess. If Canelo feels like he might lose that fight, that's probably a good strategy for him to wait and make it fucking older.
Yeah, man. I mean, I think I think he should fight Beterbiev. I mean, I don't think he can beat him, but I think he should try.
Yeah. Well, Beterbiev, as I said, Beterbiev just kind of threw his hat into the ring for Jake Paul. See, everyone's lining up for Jake Paul. You might as well just line up for a Jake Paul fight, man. That's a way to get your fucking films funded right there, man. Sign on to fight Jake Paul, and then you got to, of course, you probably got to agree to take the dive, though. I'm sure that's the sucky part, you know.
He would kill me, man. I mean, he trains. You know, he's a legit fighter. Now I know people don't want to hear that, but he is a legitimate fighter.
Yeah, he's living like one.
Yeah, I mean, he's gonna get hurt though. Somebody's gonna get him. You know, he's. I don't know if he's serious or if he really truly thinks that he could get in a ring with somebody like Canelo or Beterbiev or. Right. They'll destroy him. I mean, Ryan Garcia's talking about fighting Ryan Garcia. Ryan Garcia will destroy him. Guaranteed, man. Guaranteed.
Well, he didn't have luck, man. Like the only person he fought that was his size and his age is Tommy Fury, and he lost.
Yeah. But I was impressed with that though. He did well. It was close.
Yeah. But Tommy Fury at best is a fucking casual boxer though.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So that was a good matchup for him. And but on paper, Fury should have destroyed. Jake. But what does Jake do? He turns around and he fights 2 or 3 more circus fights, man. And like, well, dude, like you have this momentum. But again, I don't know that he's really trying to become a championship boxer, or if he's just doing what he's always done, which is create events and views and ratings. And he's great at that. And I guess we'll see because he's pretty much run out of people he can fight and get away with it. Now people already expect more of him. If he turns around and says, "Oh, I'm going to fight Nick Diaz or somebody like that," people are going to chew him up. Yeah. So to review everything here, man, going out next year with DOWNSET on live dates. Yes.
And currently trying to get Bury the Hatchet made.
Well, I'm waiting until I have all the resources I need to start the film and finish it within a specific time. I'm not going to spend 2 years working on it or a year working. I'm going to spend about 3 months working on it once I get back into actual production. And I need the resources for that so that I don't have to spend all this extra time in post-production trying to match shots that were shot 8-9 months apart and shit like that, which is just, it's just not the way to do it. I kind of got away with it on Hellner's, but with Hellner's, there's a lot of flaws in the film for that reason, but with this one, I'm not, if I'm going to put out another flawed film like that, I just won't do it, So yeah, I'll go out with DOWNSET. I will get to Bury the Hatchet this coming year. And I will get it done. And
now does DOWNSET have plans like for like a new album? And if they are doing new music, will you be involved in that process?
Well, Roy, the guitar player, he's the guy who runs DOWNSET. That's always his goal is to make new music. That's what he does. He's a music, he's a true old school legitimate musician. That's what he is. So that's always his goal. If he asks me to record another record, I will.
You will lend your all right. So you will lend your services to DOWNSET when they need it.
Well, of course, and I'll be a member of the band and everything as much as anybody other than the original guys can be. So I'll yeah, of course. But I would really like to see all of them get together. Even James, the guitar player.
Life's too short. Life's too short. Fuck it. Yeah,
I would love to see them all get together, do another album, and then the rest of us fill-ins can jump in and do the touring or whatever. That's what I would like to see happen. But if that ain't gonna happen, of course I'll jump in and I'll do whatever.
Well, hopefully we're having one of these interviews fucking 10 years from now, and fucking Bury the Hatchet has become a fucking worldwide sensation a la Michael Myers, man, and he's our next fucking horror icon. That would be fucking amazing, dude.
Well, I'll tell you this. Bury the Hatchet we'll see if it becomes a big commercial type of thing, but I can guarantee you it will be a notorious film.
I feel like this is a good time for a passing of the torch, because it is kind of dumb and facetious to try to bring back any of the classics. A Freddy Krueger, a Michael Myers, a Jason. It's getting old and laughable now. I know they're trying to push Art the Clown as like the new face of fear, but I don't know if people are totally buying into him. So I feel like the market is wide open, man. Like for that haunting character, like we always had in the 80s, with the Jasons and the Freddys. I feel like that next indelible character here in the 21st century has yet to surface.
Yeah, and if
wide open.
If it's possible, if I can do it, I will. I have, I said I have the one goal of making an iconic killer character, but my other goal, the secondary goal of that would be, I just want, when people go camping, I want them to think about this, my film. I want them to think about Bartholomew, Barry the Hatchet. That's what I want people to think, like it to be something that is realistic, that could really be there, not some killer that's been shot 40 times and has hatchets rammed through his head 10 times and he's still running around like he's got no injuries.
Yeah, so like, will this so does this character, like, without divulging too much, I don't know how much you can tell us about the character of Barry the Hatchet, man, but does he have it? But and if it's something you don't want to elaborate on, certainly tell me, but does he have some type of superpower or anything like a Michael Myers is supposed to have? Because obviously they went in that series and they made him have an Irish curse on him, and it got a little crazy, man. But does this person have some type of superpower?
No, he's very human. Very
that's relatable.
Very human. He has all the elements of human. He has no superpowers. He's just he's just a person who was raised in a way that he doesn't have the same sense of, he has the same sense of right and wrong. He just, okay, I'm trying not to get wrong.
He likes the wrong a little more.
Well, I'm vegan, right?
Right. Yes. Yep.
So I'll just put it this way.
Yep.
He eats people. That's what he does. I'll say it.
Okay.
So it's kind of like a reversal of that type of situation where he only eats people. And I shouldn't give that away, but it's all good. Let's.
Well, you've got it written already, right? So the whole so the whole movie is written already at this point.
It is. Yeah, it's better. And I've already sent the script to all the actors like a year and a half ago. So yeah, everybody has read it and everybody knows what's up.
And when you sit down to write a script on a movie like that, man, like how long from start to finish does it take typically to write a movie like that?
Well, my process isn't really like I sit down and say I'm going to write something. But my process goes like this: I'll come up, an idea will come to me from something, and I'll make a note, and then I'll start elaborating on those, and I'll end up with all these notes, and then I will convert it over to a script. So from the note taking part to the time a script is finished, it varies because I don't set a time frame.
Right.
But, let's say, for example, Hell Nurse. Hell Nurse, that was a very like rudimentary idea I had of I wanted to add the satanic element, all that. And the star of the film, she called me one day, and this is before I even wrote the movie. She was like, "Hey, would you ever consider doing a film where a female is the lead killer?" And I was like, "I have one that I wrote, that I have some notes for them, but I don't think anybody would ever film it because it's just too fucked up. There's too much nudity. There's just too much, the sacrilege, all that kind of stuff."
Yeah.
And she was like, "Nah." I told her what else. She's like, "No, fuck, I'll do it. I was like, "All right, let's do it then." So when I sat down, and from that point, it probably took me maybe 3 weeks to write the whole script, to like complete it.
Okay. So if people want to keep up with what's going on, man, or keep tabs on the progress of the movie or how it's coming along with any of your stuff, where's the best place to check you out these days? I know everybody, this is the obligatory promotional part of the show where unfortunately we all have to be out there on the platform somewhere, or whatever we're doing doesn't get noticed. So where's the best place for people to keep tabs on Bobby?
You know, for film stuff and all that, it's probably just my website, just bobbyblood.com, or any of my social medias. But I don't really post a whole lot. So I don't really update anything.
Yeah, me neither. The only time I feel like the only time I post stuff is when I put a new episode up. Other than that, I'm not going to put out my views and my opinions on shit. I don't feel like Facebook is the forum for that. People have gotten very comfortable with doing that nowadays and thinking that they're very important just because they have a platform, you know?
Yeah, and you know, hey, more power to them, but that's not for me at all, you know? And I don't really have much to talk about, you know? I don't, the only thing I can go on there and say is, hey, I'm going to do this, or I'm going to do that.
It's a promotional tool,
you know? Yeah. And I don't know that I'm going to do any of those things. I'll wait until I'm done. When I come back, I'll say, hey, you know, bury the hatchet, it's out, or we're filming this. Here's, you know, some stills from the film, and I want to start getting people thinking about it, things like that. But other than that, I don't really have anything going on interesting enough, you know, other than like maybe when I'm working, if something's going on at work, you know, that's it. You know?
And so what's the deadline for here? Like, before we hop off here, man, what's the deadline for when you'd like to see Bury the Hatchet, which is the movie that you stated you want to make next? What's the timeline, a timeline that you think is doable for when this movie will be seen by the public?
I mean, I always shoot for Halloween time of every year. I believe I'll have it ready this Halloween.
Okay. So 2025. We will see it in 2025.
I believe so. Now, if you know 2025 comes Halloween and you haven't heard from me, then it hasn't happened. You know,
I don't want you to reveal this, but if you have somebody in mind, man, I just want to know if you have somebody in mind. But obviously, it sounds like the most coveted part in that movie would be that of Barry. Do you have a Barry in mind already?
Oh yeah, it's a guy that's been in every film I've ever done.
Okay.
Since film school, like since when I was in you know, actually doing my projects for school, he was in even those, you know. He's a guy that understands what I'm doing and believes in it, and that's the most important part.
That sounds like who is that person? Can you shout him out? Who is that?
Yeah, his name is Garvin Lee.
Garvin Lee. That's a good dude, man. Showing loyalty to every project like that, man. You know.
Yeah, man. I mean, he's just very supportive. He's the one that got me interested. Not really interested. I was always interested in it, but he was kind of the one that he was in some other films, and it didn't really occur to me that you could really just make your own movies, you know. So I was like, well, fuck, I'm gonna, you know.
And why is he the right person? And why is he the right person? This is obviously a movie that's important to you, near and dear to your heart, man. How does he get the selection, man? Like, you know, is he somebody that just is able to pull off the horror character? I mean, I'm not familiar with his work. I mean, you're heaping a lot of praise and a lot of work onto a guy that's going to be really the focus of the whole movie, and should it go on subsequently, would be the guy to play him. So you have a lot of faith in this guy.
A lot. I mean, I have all the faith in him. He's, you know, he the number one thing is he's got ability. He's got the acting ability. He's got the what do you call it? The enthusiasm. Anytime I've ever asked him to go film something, he's ready. You know what I mean?
And what about like the look? Does this character have a look, or like is he disfigured, or like what does he look like? And does this guy Garvin Lee who plays the role, does he have a crazed look? You know how some guys just have a look. Like Jack Nicholson was perfect for the Overlook Hotel movie there. You know, he's perfect. He looks nuts in the fucking scenes. It's just it's vintage Jack Nicholson. Does this guy that works for you, does he have a specific look, or will he be dolled up in a costume in Bury the Hatchet?
No, it's his face. There is some disfigurement, but he has a certain look, which is funny because he has long hair, which I already just said I can't stand when everybody has that. Yeah. But you know, he has this look of somebody who's aged prematurely for his age, you know, because he grew up alone in the woods. So he has that look. He has this kind of crazed, the way he was in another film that I did called Terror 66, and the way he runs, it just, when I wrote the film, it was always him when I was writing it. And that's another thing I do. I should have mentioned that before. When I write a film, once I get my notes, I'll cast it, you know, just mentally, or at least get an idea of the type of character, and I'll picture somebody, and I will write the character as that person. And then
because these aren't huge budget films, man, do people who do your movies, do they do it sometimes on a voluntary basis, just for an opportunity to be in it or to help you out and do you a solid?
People have offered. Yeah, there's been a couple people, not on Hell Nurse. I made sure I paid everybody for Hell Nurse.
I'm telling you right now. I'm telling you right now, man. I'm not trying to be braggadocious or whatever, but me and my wife do pretty good. We both work in healthcare. I would come out and offer my services and be in your movie for free just for the experience. I just think it would be fucking fun. So there'd be no pressure to pay me, man. I would come out there for like a long weekend, like a Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday kind of deal,
I appreciate it, man. I mean, we'll just talk about it when the time comes.
I mean, just between me and you, because I know you say you hate the long hair. This isn't my real hair.
Yeah, it is.
No, I'm telling you, man. It's part of my shtick. It's part of my shtick, man. Like you know. I know you're a faithful friend of the show, man. I always make the correlation that I'm Diamond David Lee Roth Jr., man. That's part of my. I guess the cat's out of the bag, and now here in episode 240, whatever, I have revealed to Bobby Blood that this, in fact, is a wig.
That's funny, man. You're a wild dude.
Yeah. So I'd have to send you a proper headshot, but just picture this exact same adorable face right here, just with short hair. That's all.
Well, then you look exactly like the modern day Michael Myers. Whenever they went to see him in the not modern day, but like maybe 3 Halloweens ago, when the film started, they went to see him.
Yep.
Then you probably look just like that. But maybe a little younger.
Specifically as a director, if you need my specs and you need somebody to play somebody big, I am 6'4", 250 pounds. So I'm a good sized guy. I'm sitting down obviously in my pockets here, man, but I'm a pretty sizable guy. I mean, I don't feel that way when I walk around, but yet every single time people see me, man, they always call me big guy or you know what I mean? But like, it's like when you look at yourself, you don't see yourself that way. And I see people, like 6'4", but if I was in the NBA, I'd be considered small,
Yeah.
I mean, so I don't really I feel like a big guy is like that guy that played Michael Myers in the Rob Zombie movies. That's a fucking big guy.
Yeah, that's a big dude, man.
Yeah.
But just real quick to reiterate, when I said the thing about the Rob Zombie movies, it's just weird that every male character has long hair. It seems all of them do, and it's like, come on, man, like, that's a little odd. Maybe in the 80s that would have been the case, but.
Yeah, I wonder why that is. I'm not really sure. And you make a good point, because even in the Michael Myers movies that he made, he had Michael Myers, even when he was a little shit, 10, 11, 12 years old, he had him with shaggy long hair.
Yeah. And it's just, look at him now. Go back and look at his movies, and that's just kind of, of course, Captain Spaulding was bald-headed, but for the most part, like 95% of all his male characters, the psychiatrists, you didn't see that shit back in the 80s or 70s. Like, people had to have professional haircuts,
No, but I would say that it isn't far-fetched, though. I mean, it seems like the natural course of things. If nature's taking its course, man, then Michael Myers is not going to sit still for a haircut or a beard trim. So he probably does look like Tyler Mane in Halloween 2. Big beard, long hair, you know what I mean? Like, I mean, stop and think. He's a killing machine. How often is he stopping to fucking in a sink to shave?
Exactly, and that's why Barry the Hatchet has long hair. So,
Yeah.
Man, there's a lot. When the film is close to being done, maybe you'll have me back on, and I'll
let me know. I will. Yeah.
Promo tour and stuff, and we'll talk more about it. But there's a lot about I'll send you some stuff, man. If you want to be in the film, you can come and be in the film, bro. Because there's a lot of extra parts and stuff. And
me and my wife have talked. Me and my wife have talked a lot about now that we're empty nesters and we only have grandkids, man. And we're involved in the grandkids' lives quite a bit, man. But like we are in a position now, where we're between our income and having an empty house and 3 grown children now, that we can just kind of pop away. And we've talked about it now that we're in our 50s about doing it more, hopping away for 3, 4, 5 days here and there, not necessarily proper vacations, although we do want to do like a cruise for a couple of weeks or whatever, man, but just popping out. Like we wanted to pop out and see Paisley Park, Prince's studio, pop out to Minneapolis, hit Las Vegas or something like that. You know what I mean? Like we would like to do something like, like stuff we can do in like a 4 or 5 day span,
For sure, man. Yeah, dude. Yeah, man. We'll set it up, bro. Like I'll let
popping out to Vegas out to Vegas and being in a horror movie is on the agenda, then I'm fucking in, man.
That's what's up, man. Yeah, bro. We'll do it. Yeah, there's a lot of parts. I need a lot of.
Well, there's no pressure, man. I'm not looking to necessarily do whatever you need me to do. If you need me to be bum number 3 that fucking dies in an alley, dude, I'm there for you, man. Fucking whatever you can use me for, man. I'll do. And not begrudgingly. I don't have to be the. I can be a victim. I'd be honored to be a victim.
Well, everybody gets killed in my films, just about. So,
Yeah, that's all right, man. Yeah.
Living, given long enough time, they all pretty much get killed. So, and Bury the Hatchet's going to be a bloodbath. So,
well, keep me in the loop, man. Yeah, keep me in the loop, as things progress, man, and we'll get back on here and we'll chop it up, man. I always love chopping it up with you, man. If I didn't have to come to an end, I wouldn't come to an end, and I would just sit here and chop it up with you all fucking night, man. But people don't, it's amazing that I even have episodes this long because people's attention span, unfortunately, just like with albums, is not what it used to be,
Yeah, I feel it, man. I know what you're
saying. I sit here and have an amazing conversation with you, and I hope people sat here and watched it for an hour and a half, man, for as long as it's gone by, man. I respect the people that do. I would sit and watch a great chat, man, for an hour and a half, man. But not everybody will, though.
No, but it's all good, man. It's all good. It'll be there for maybe down the road I'll do something really fucked up and end up in prison or something, and then people will go back looking for my stuff and be like, hey, here's the dude talking about normal shit.
Hey, wait a minute now! Don't give us any premonitions now. We don't want you going to prison, man.
I'm not going to prison. I won't. I'll shoot it out with the cops first.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to be in a prison, man.
Nah, I've done enough of that.
Yeah. So, listen, man, it's always an honor having you on, man. I love chopping up with you, man, and thank you, man, because you've always been super supportive of the podcast, and you check shit out and you like shit all the time, man. So I appreciate you, man. Yeah,
I appreciate you back, brother, and thanks for having me on. And I'm gonna send you some stuff, man. And
please do.
Yeah. So yeah, bro. All right. Well, I guess we'll talk soon.
I enjoyed it, brother. Thank you so much, man. Always a pleasure, my friend. Talk to you soon, man.
All right, brother. Peace.
Later. There he goes, folks. Bobby Blood. You might know him as the drummer for DOWNSET. You might know him for his time in Marauder, fucking legendary hardcore band. You might know him for his time in legendary hardcore band First Blood, or from his films. His last one was Hell Nurse, which is what I'm going to feel like tomorrow morning when I got to get up for work. So I can totally relate. And he's trying to get Bury the Hatchet, who might be the new fucking face of horror out there, which you will see an appearance, a cameo, if you will, from one Rexx Ruger, as you heard in that episode. Bobby Blood will have the man himself right here in his next feature film. I'll pop out there for that. That's on God right there, man. Me and my wife will pop out to Vegas, man, and I will hop into Bury the Hatchet. Free of charge, man. It'd be an honor, man. So I hope you guys enjoyed that episode. Thank you always to my main man, Bobby Blood. And I wasn't just blowing smoke, man. I thank him a lot, man. He's always been a supporter of the podcast, man. And when I put up a new episode, he hits like and checks it out, man. And even when I was doing the boxing podcast, 160 episodes of that, Bobby Blood was always showing some love, man. So love him right back, man. Great dude, man. And go back and check out his films. He's made a whole bunch of films of the horror genre, if that's your thing. Good shit, though, man. An ex-fucking soldier in the Army, man. So we thank him for his fucking service, man. And just a good dude, man. Creative guy, man. Always thinking, always creating, man. Gotta love and salute that, man. So as he said, go check out his website. I think he said BobbyBlood.com. If I'm getting that wrong, pull your fucking cursor back and go back and find out what he was talking about his website. But Bobby Blood is out there. He ain't hard to find. Navigate your fucking internet and you'll find him. And reach out to him. Maybe you can find yourself in Bury the Hatchet alongside with your boy Rexx Ruger. Maybe we'll get killed together. So thanks, Bobby Blood. Really appreciate that. Make sure to like and follow PodScum on Facebook. And let me give myself a look at the luscious locks here. Got to take a look just because I enjoy the view. Luscious. And of course, let me do a little promoting myself. This is how I get it done, kids, right there. Contribute to that hole in the ozone layer and get your quaff looking like Roth. It doesn't work miracles. You won't get these good looks because I got the rock star genetics right there from Pops. But you get your hands on some of this stuff, man, and you will step up your game. It's all about levels in this world. And of course, me being Diamond David Lee Roth Jr., I'm at the top level. So it doesn't get any better than this. This is the cream of the crop. And so is Bobby Blood, man. A true bro, man. Happy to have him on, man. So, and also make sure if you're on this channel to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell to stay tapped in. This is where the cool kids come to chop it up with your boy Rexx Ruger. And of course, the Freddie Mercury puppet with his big ass teeth back there. So that being said, I will end this like I always do by reminding you to take it easy and do keep it sleazy.